What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Squadcast. This is the Flash edition, and I am really excited to talk about this episode. Tons of freak out moments. Uh, I know you guys are just as excited as I am, so I'm not going to even wait. Just going to jump right into it. So we start off, and they continue on that story of we finally meet Jay Garrick. Super pumped about that. And they continue developing that story. Barry doesn't trust him, and rightfully so. I know, Mitch, you were saying that you were actually talking about, Grant Gustin's acting ability and how you were actually angry with him in this episode, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah, Grant Gustin, we've seen him evoke the happy-go-lucky character. We all know his ability to make you feel Barry's pain in the Flash, when he was trying to save his mom, any scenes with his father still in prison and whatnot. But this week he invoked evoked a whole new feeling, which was agitation for his complete distrust, arrogance toward Jay Garrick. And I was just, Barry, bro, quit being a douchebag.
I know, I agree with you. I felt the same way. I was like, watching it, I'm like, dude, it's Jay Garrick, bro. Don't you know who that is? And obviously he doesn't. And it worked, though. I mean, the way they wrote that and the way he acted it is really realistic. I mean, someone who just came back from trusting someone and really looking at Wells as someone who's like a father figure to him, really being let down and betrayed. You're not going to just let someone back into your life like that just because they say that they can be trusted. So it was very realistic the way they did it and the way he acted. And I was pissed at him too.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so well done. I mean, there wasn't a bad part about this episode. Like every bit of it pushed the narrative in such a brilliant direction. There was not a dull moment in the episode. There wasn't one single flaw in my opinion. I thought it was better than the season premiere, honestly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I felt the same way. I'm like, the season premiere was awesome, and then they just knocked it out of the park again. And that's the way you write an episode. So creative team over at Arrow, take notes. This is how you write a show. So far, you guys are doing all right over there, and we'll definitely talk more about that in the Arrow edition of the. But they've been knocking it out of the park. And so, how excited were you guys when they mentioned Earth 2? I know I was flipping out. I know if people were watching. If anybody could see me, if there was a fly on the wall, they'd be like, "This dude is nuts." Yeah, that was exciting for me. Just hearing Earth 2, I was like, yes.
It's a really interesting concept that they're going with now because it can really enhance the show or it can make things worse. They could take liberties with it of trying to, if they fuck up one storyline, they can just, try and use Earth 2 to, render it and fix it. But if they use Earth 2 properly in its existence and all that other stuff, then it can really be a good thing to enhance the show.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like I can't really speak that much on it because I'm not as up to date on you guys or with you guys on the Earth 2, but I did recently read Flashpoint, and just that concept alone really has me intrigued to read more Flash comics and then also have something to greatly look forward to on the show. I wish I could say more on it, but like I said, I just don't know enough about it to be like super excited to the point like where you guys are. But I mean, it definitely is a concept that is highly intriguing to me.
Well, just the whole idea of there being multiple universes and, multiple Barrys. Not every Barry is a Flash. And then there's Jay Garrick, there's Wally West, who's going to be introduced somewhere down the line. Wells is also obviously there's going to be multiple Harrison Wells.
I got a good
You know,
question about Wally. You can continue if you want. We don't have to address it right now, but
oh,
I
you
do
said
have a
it.
good.
You're like, I have a question about Wally, and I'm like,
No,
all
I
right,
said I
let's
have a
go.
good question, but you can continue your statement if you want to.
No, yeah, I'm done. I want to hear this question.
All right.
You got me intrigued. Let's go.
So, and we're kind of jumping ahead in the episode here, but we see Joe's. I don't know if it's his. It's really hard. It's Iris's mother, but we know that from season 1 that Joe lost his wife, so we don't know if that's the actual wife or if this is somebody completely different. I don't know yet, because like they mention it in season 1, like Wells and Joe are talking, and he's like, "Yeah, you lost your wife." He's like, "Yeah, I did," and Joe mentions that he never talks about it. So I don't know what he means by he lost her. I don't know if she just kind of took off and left after Iris was born or something
Yeah.
like that. But my question is, do you think that Wally will end up being Joe's illegitimate son?
Ooh.
Like they had Iris, and then Wally was conceived, and then his wife took off and left.
Ooh. And that's why she's coming back. That's why she
Yeah.
needed to. She didn't just need to come and talk to Joe and see her daughter. She also wanted to tell him, hey, you got a son, by the way.
Like, hey, you got a son, he's in trouble, he needs a discipline. And, then that creates kind of a
Huh.
conflict with Joe and Barry and Joe and Wally and Joe and Iris and everything like that.
That's going to be
Joe,
interesting.
Iris and Barry. I think that's probably what they're going to go for. I don't see how they could do it any other way.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think in the comics, he's like Iris's. Wally's like a distant. I don't know. He's like a cousin or a nephew or something. I don't remember right now.
The Flash timeline is so freaking confusing. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see how they play that in there. And yeah, I agree with you. As soon as she came back and said her daughter, I'm like, oh snap. And I was like, all right. So it reminded me, okay, he did. I was like, I don't think he ever said that she died. He never said death. He just said he lost his wife, which
lost her.
a lot of things. And now that she's coming back, obviously she walked out on him, which is painful for anybody. I mean, it makes sense that he wouldn't want to talk about that. Forced to raise his daughter by himself. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays into not only Joe and Iris's life, but into Barry's life, because they kind of adopted him, and having this woman come in, and it could be really interesting to see how that plays in.
Having this woman come in, and then potentially having this son come in, and kind of rocks Barry's world. Like, hey, I'm Joe's son, not you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be that's going to be interesting, that dynamic. So what are we thinking about? Kind of going back a little bit, although it was kind of one theme of the episode, and that is a little bit of something going on between Caitlin and Jay Garrick. Well, more Caitlin than Jay Garrick, but she's kind of attracted to him. Do you think that? See, I don't think obviously I don't think that Ronnie is dead. Obviously, they've been having to cut his schedule a little bit. He's been getting more roles. He's a big Hollywood star now, so he's been getting more roles elsewhere. So I don't think he's dead. Obviously, he was in the void, so he probably is on a different Earth somewhere, just hanging out like, oh, damn, this sucks.
And he doesn't know how to get back home.
So right now she's attracted to Jay Garrick. Do you think that they're actually going to play on that? Do you think there'll be some kind of relationship? Or do you think that, this is just her way of trying to ignore the fact that Ronnie's gone?
I think it's both. I really think it's both. I think it's, a void to fill Ronnie's absence, but also maybe there's an actual interest there between, at least on her end.
Yeah, because he doesn't seem to really. He's so focused. He's like, I mean, he plays the Flash character perfectly, because he really is doing a good job at acting this character out because he has similar attributes to Barry where they both get that blinded, very focused. This is what I have to do, and they kind of don't notice things right away. So I thought that was pretty cool that he did that. So yeah, it seems more on her end, but it's interesting. It doesn't seem. I guess it's been 6 months, but I don't know. I felt like it's kind of weird that she's moving on so quickly. If this was just a one-time thing and she didn't just marry this guy that she lost like twice, and then she loses him
Right.
again, and I mean, there's got to be that thought in the back of her. I mean, I know we're going really deep into this, but there's got to be that thought in the back of her head, like he came back once before, and then went away, and then he came back again, so maybe he'll come back again.
Right. I mean, I think it's there, but I think she's trying to move on because she went to work at Mercury Labs, to get away from Star Labs and Wells and what happened to Ronnie. So I'm sure it's in the back of her mind, and I'm sure it'll come up, in a further storyline down the road. But for right now, I think it's just like, Jay's a distraction.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Oh man, what about Cisco's power starting to develop?
Yes, I'm getting
Oh,
goosies.
I'm getting goosies. Oh man, oh
He,
that was awesome.
he's really one of, like, out of all the TV shows I've seen in my year, he's really one of the most likable characters that's ever been written.
Yep, I
Because
agree.
Completely agree.
he's funny, he can be dramatic, he can be, just you can't hate the guy. He really the actor does a really good job at playing him. And I'm really glad they're really starting to delve into his powers. And I do have a good theory on, how those powers eventually will start to work better.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Well, I just want to talk about one thing, and then I want to hear about this theory because I'm really interested to hear what you got to say. Um, Definitely agree. I mean, the acting is top notch. I mean, he can have you laughing 1 second, crying the next. I mean, you go through every emotion, and you're like, dude, what are you doing to me? You can't help but love this guy. He is so likable. I agree with you. I think out of any character I can think of, out of any TV show, he's the most likable character I've ever come across. And I got really excited when he said, I'm getting these vibes. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Here we go. It's getting good. I'm getting goosies. I got to keep saying that every time. That whole scene has me dying. I love it.
Yep. That's definitely gonna be a thing from now on. Getting goosies.
I'm getting goosies. Definitely. This whole episode gave me goosies.
It really did. I mean, it was such a well thought out episode. Like I said earlier, there just wasn't any flaw with it to me.
I agree. It was A+ to me. I didn't see anything wrong. I know you had mentioned, actually, before we even go into this, I didn't forget, it's in the back of my head, what's your theory about how Vibes powers
Well,
play?
it kind of involves, like, the end of the episode, so I don't know if we want to jump there yet.
All right, we can wait if you want to wait. Yeah, that's fine. It's up to you.
Because there's still, like, we still have kind of two big talking points. We still have Patty to talk about, and
Yes, we
then
do.
what happens to Martin Stein. So, and
And
then the other thing at the end. So,
yep, there's definitely a couple more things to touch on. I know Mitch, you had mentioned that IGN actually did a review of the episode and said that they felt it was oddly paced. While
Completely
I
disagree.
I don't disagree with it being oddly paced. I disagree with the way they said it. They said it was oddly paced, but they said it in a way that made it seem negative. And I don't think that it was negative. I think it added to the episode.
no, I
think
think they said it was predictably boring or some bullshit like that. I
No,
know.
no, that was Wells being turning out to be.
Oh yeah,
Zoom.
that's right. Yeah, they said that Wells turning out to be Zoom would be predictably boring.
Yeah,
Which I
okay,
don't
that was
disagree
it.
with that. I mean, I can agree it would definitely be predictable.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think the pacing was different. I don't think it was odd. I think it was just different. And I thought, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I thought the pacing added to the episode. But they seem to disagree. And I just disagree with it being a negative. I don't think it negatively impacted the episode, didn't make the episode suck. It
Not at
made
all.
it interesting the way that they built things. You know, they had a lot of storylines that they were trying to introduce in this one short episode, and they did a great job at tackling each one and really doing it respectively. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these episodes, they have all these things they want to do, but they don't respect the characters enough and give them enough time to really develop. Because they have a short amount of time. I mean, you have to really look at it and say, what can we do to work all these in and do it in a way that's respective to each individual character. They did that perfectly, at least in my opinion, in this episode.
I'm really pleased that they stuck with the original Jay Garrick Flash canon of how he got his powers, because he was explaining to Caitlin, wasn't it Caitlin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I couldn't begin to tell you how in the world he got his powers, but I know what I read and I know what I heard, and it was the same thing. So I was really pleased with that. They're not pulling a Gotham and just like, oh well, he got his powers like this in the comic, but we're gonna put our own spin on it. Which, I mean,
Yeah, like I said it before, like I don't mind when writers take liberties with characters and change a canon slightly, but I hate it when they rewrite canons because then it just becomes completely, it's not the character that you're telling us it is.
exactly.
You know, you're saying this is a show about Flash, or this is a show about Arrow, this is a show about Batman, but we're gonna change it completely, and the writing is not gonna reflect what we're telling you it is. That doesn't work for me. And there's fans who, oh, it's fine, let it be, but it's like it's fine if that's what you want to do, but you can't call it that. You have to call it something different because we're expecting one thing, getting something completely different. It doesn't match up, and they luckily are very good at, you know, and I said this before, being, and I keep using the word respect, but being respectful of the overall canon of Flash. And I mean, I don't even want to say Arrow because, I mean, I like they're respectful, but I think they've taken a lot of liberties with it. A
Yeah,
lot
I
more
mean,
liberties. Some people don't care for the liberties they've taken with Arrow. I don't mind it as much, but I get it, and we can talk about that more in the Arrow edition. But I mean, yeah, I mean the fact that they kept true to that, it feels real. I mean, obviously, I feel like there's going to be people who hate on Jay Garrick's costume that he was wearing, the suit, because it wasn't a T-shirt. Like I feel like there's going to be people who are going to be bitching about that, but I liked it. It worked. It fit. I don't know what CW's fetish is with leather, but like
It's
everybody seems to have to wear leather now. I mean,
probably because it looks better on screen,
yeah, yep,
and
Yeah.
it's probably easier to put together than like
Yeah.
trying to do like a spandex or some other weird costume.
yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
I mean, some spandex costumes do look good on screen or whatever they use, but it's probably easier to mold together for the budget that they have.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on it.
I'm
I
not
like it.
so upset anymore that Jay Garrick's lightning bolt isn't filled in.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
kind of
like why
works.
it's not filled in is because he doesn't have his powers.
Oh, that's true. That's a
So
good point.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't have it filled in his timeline, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was just gonna mention that, but I didn't
now I'm
remember
just
saying
gonna
but.
tell myself it's not filled in because he doesn't have his powers. Just to make
Yeah,
myself
you know,
feel better
I
about it.
remember you bringing that up before the season started, and I agreed with you then. That, I mean, I didn't necessarily hate it, but I definitely really, really wish that it was colored in. I don't know, maybe they'll change it like they did. I don't know where that's gonna go, but we have to talk about the. Well, first we can talk about Patty Spivot and her introduction and being such a pivotal character in the Flash canon. Um, and how much I just love this actress that they've chosen to portray her and
Mm-hmm.
her ability to just, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. That last scene with Joe when she's telling him about her father, I started tearing up because I was like, wow. It was just the way she was projecting. It was so powerful. And it was
Yep.
just so passionate and so eager. And like, this is what I'm going to do, whether you're allowing me to or not. And very just She had that power to her, which was awesome. But then again, she has that adorable innocence, that nerdiness that fits in. She's got a lot of dynamic to her character, and the actress that they chose is really, really able to balance all of them, which is really impressive. Um,
I especially enjoyed the scene where her and Barry are talking at the crime
Yes.
scene and they're investigating. And she's kind of like, "Oh, I've read all your reports and blah blah blah." And she's talking about the evidence, and you can just see Barry's face light up, and you can feel the positive emotion in that scene. You're like, this is if they do this right, this could be a really good story arc.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going with the scene where they were.
oh, the interrogation.
Yeah, and they.
That was a good one too.
What
They
was
have
that
such.
movie?
Yeah.
The Monty Python, I think. The quote that they did back
Oh yeah.
together, like
Okay.
that.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. They have such a great on-screen chemistry together.
Already, right out of the bat.
Like
Right
you
out
just
of the gate.
feel like like it feels so legitimate. Like I mean, I hate to do this, but you compare it to Arrow season 3 with Olicity and just how forced that felt, and then you feel something like this, and you're just like, wow. Like if you for some reason weren't realizing that this was a TV show and not real, you'd be like, wow, they really are attracted to each other. And who
Mm-hmm.
knows, maybe
Yeah.
they are behind the scenes. I don't know, but it just felt so real, and so it was really, really, really great chemistry between the two. I'm really excited to see where they go because she is an important character, and it's going to be interesting to see how Iris feels about this romance blooming. Um, but yeah, also, and there's one thing that happens obviously before this, but I'm going to save that for last because I think it's really important to talk about. So Professor Stein uh, just collapsing, I'm assuming it's got something to do with the fact that Ronnie is not around. Maybe he's in a different world, Earth 2
Yeah.
or Earth 3 or Earth
I
4.
think it's because of his disconnection to the Firestorm Matrix.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that and
We
where
know
they
what
go
they're
from
gonna do
there.
with that, but
Because, like, he is in Legends for Tomorrow, and it doesn't seem like Robbie Amell is in that.
no.
As far as I've seen, I haven't seen him being casted. I
I
haven't
mean,
heard
you
anything.
can look online and find out what they're gonna do with it, or you can just watch the show. Either way.
Yeah, I would rather just watch the show and not spoil it for myself, but that's just me. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with that. But the real topic and the real thing that really interested me in this entire episode, first of all, Sand Demon was badass.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Him, and
Like
I wanted
honestly,
to,
He was a cool Monster of the Week villain.
yeah, I agree.
honestly, I wasn't buying into the character all of that much at first, but then as the episode progressed and whatnot, I was like, this guy's really cool. I think they handled him a lot better. Like, I don't think they handled Atom Smasher terribly, but it just didn't feel like it reached its potential to me with Atom Smasher. But this week,
I don't think it was supposed to because I think the first episode, the premiere, was really supposed to focus on Barry and his emotions as trying to pick up and just move on as the Flash alone, as opposed to fighting the villain.
true,
Yeah,
true.
and the fact that Atom Smasher seemed to only really be in this episode, more or less to introduce Zoom into the show and kind of give you that first hint that okay, here's a new guy, well, new-ish Zoom. Um, he sent me here to kill you, and kind of really start introducing that arc into the show. So I don't think they put a whole lot into it. I agree with you. They definitely put more into Sand Demon, and I thought he was really cool. And I love the lightning. That was so badass.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna
man.
go Zeus on him?
Wow, that was so cool. Perfectly well done. The effects of it was, again, man. Is there anything the special effects team can't do with Flash? Because I
They're
mean,
they're
they're
impressive.
yeah, they're just damn amazing with everything that they do. I mean, it's not going to compare like the lightning throwing the lightning to the vortex up in the sky, but I mean, it's still like hella
Yep,
impressive.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, especially with the budget that they have, they're really impressive.
Yeah.
But moving along to the pinnacle of stuff that went down. Finally introduced to Zoom. I think that's a huge thing. Uh, Finally got to see what he looks like, and interested to know who or what you think he might be. Because first seeing him, he kind of reminded me of Black Flash. Um, and obviously that's not what they're going with, but that's kind of what I feel like um, they might have taken some of some of that concept and used it for this
Right.
version of Zoom because and when he said he has the face of a demon, that makes you think of Black Flash, Death. So I don't know, maybe it is that type,
I
and
think it might just be like a
maybe
disguise of some sort.
yeah, that's also true. Maybe the guy that we saw wasn't actually Zoom because because Jay Garrick mentioned Zoom and then they show this guy in black, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's Zoom. It could be maybe it is Death and Zoom's using him. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Could be Zoom. Um, it could be uh, Black Lantern Corps or Flash, the reincarnation of Professor Zoom.
It could be Barry
So
Allen.
could be Barry Allen. You mentioned that before, and that's a really interesting theory.
Could
That
be
it could
Earth
be
2
Earth
Barry
2. It
Allen.
could be Earth 2. Yep,
Because
Earth
it's
2
like
Barry
the
Allen.
complete opposite of everything Barry is. So
Exactly, and he's got the face.
Very.
I just thought he looked badass too, just with the demon face and had that growl and just sounded really menacing.
I was in
And
my. I got underneath the covers and hid, man. I was terrified.
yep, poor Mitch. It's all right, Mitch. He's gone.
Are you sure?
I'm
Cause
po- I'm positive. He's
okay,
gone.
all right.
Definitely like the introduction to him. Interested to really see where they go with this and really who it's going to be because I know there's a lot of different opinions going around. Maybe it's Hunter Zolomon and it's Zoom. Maybe it is Dr. Wells, even though IGN and I agree with them. That'd be very predictable. Or maybe it's an all new character together. I don't know. Or like you said, maybe it is Barry Allen. Maybe they're reusing a theory or a character. It's going to be cool to see where they go with this.
Most definitely.
But they end the episode at Star Labs. Now, I'm assuming it's Earth 2. And they're going around.
Hold on, Matt. You're leaving out like one of the coolest parts of the episode, man. The traditional classic.
Oh, yep. Are you
Jay Garrick, Barry Allen running towards the damsel in distress.
running? Yep, running towards Patty. Oh my God, how could I have glossed right over that? I even posted that on our Facebook page and our Tumblr. And I just glossed right over it. I'm awful. I'm just gonna fire myself right now. Um,
It's okay, Matt. You're forgiven.
I appreciate that. That's nice of you. Yeah, that was such a cool moment. I mean, just bringing back that comic book moment onto into the show was so cool. And if you don't know what we're talking about, then you can go to our Facebook page. The link is in the description, or our Tumblr link is also in the description, and you can see it. I posted it. It's a GIF of them running towards Patty Spivot after she's like Flash, and they're like, I'm coming, and they both run over, and then the actual image from the cover of that comic that they were involved in. It was such a surreal moment, really cool that they brought that almost exactly the same thing into the show.
I think it goes back to what I said in our episode 1, which is on our YouTube page, by the way. Of them just like dropping subtle Easter eggs. Like they've gotten that down to a really fine art.
I agree, and they do it in and I keep using the word respect, but it's so respectful of the canon. I love when people do that. When you take liberties, that's fine, as long as you're respectful. And these guys have been doing a great job. Mark Guggenheim has been fantastic with that so far. Really, really impressed. And
Absolutely.
so that was definitely a cool scene. And I apologize to everyone for just glossing right over that. I'm so terrible. But now getting to the end where they end the show at Star Labs which I'm assuming is Earth 2. They don't really tell you where they are, but you can kind of surmise that it's got to be a different world. And since we're really heavily talking about Earth 2, I'm going to assume it's Earth 2. And they end the show doing a tour, and then we see the man of the hour, Harrison Wells. Hey, kids. And then they just end the show.
But he says it so menacingly, like, "Hello,
Yeah.
kids."
Yep.
Like,
It wasn't inviting. It was, I'm going to eat your soul.
Only thing that was missing was a van with free candy written on it.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So,
definitely
here's where my theory comes in.
Here we go.
Cisco, his abilities are becoming more and more present now in his everyday life. You know, when he touches something or whatever. And they mention in that ending that, you know, Harrison Wells in 1991 saved Central City. From what we don't know, I'm sure we'll find out. But they also mention that he's an expert in metahuman studies. What I think happens is Cisco's powers eventually, take over him so bad that he kind of ends up very in a coma, but instead he's just getting constant visions. And so, Caitlin will say, "We need Dr. Wells." And because the different Earths exist, if they can find a breach to travel to a different Earth, they can get Dr. Wells, bring him to Earth 1, and say, "Hey, help our friend."
Wow.
That'd be
And
really cool.
That's how, Dr. Wells or Eobard, we don't know what he is right now, comes back to Earth 1.
That could be interesting because they could make the argument, and she could say, "We really need him," and they say that Earth 2 is the opposite. It's different than Earth 1, so maybe that Wells isn't evil like this Wells. It could be someone completely different. But if he's there and we can use him, he's our only chance. And Barry's like, "I'm not going to be involved in this." Maybe that causes a rift between them.
Right.
That could be really, really
Wow.
interesting. That's a very plausible theory. I definitely could see that happen.
Only here on the Suicide Squad cast could you get theories like that one, ladies and gentlemen. Very nicely done, Alec. Very nicely done.
That was definitely a good theory. I agree with that. That would be cool. Why aren't you writing for them?
Seriously.
I'm gonna give them a call after this episode, and we're gonna get you hooked up.
You got Mark Guggenheim on speed dial, man?
I do.
Awesome.
I just call him M for short. We're cool like that.
Oh, cool. That works.
That's not true at all. But solid episode, start to finish. Character development was fantastic. Just incredible acting all the way through. New characters, huge storyline developments, and huge plot twists. This episode literally had everything that you could ask for.
Yep.
So I mean, I can't complain. It left me speechless. I have nothing to say about it other than it was really, really well done from start to finish, and I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And then I can't wait for next week's episode.
A+ all the way around.
Definitely agree. I think we're going into overtime. I don't know how long have we been on there, Time Lord.
I haven't been keeping track.
Oh boy.
At least I don't know.
We're at 30 minutes. I know.
I called you a Time Lord. That's a Doctor Who reference.
Yeah,
all the Whovians out there. Whoa. We'll talk about this later, Alec. I mean, you're gonna have some issues. Watch your mouth.
I don't like Doctor Who.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
I don't see the appeal of Doctor Who.
We'll talk about this later.
Here's my London time booth.
You think you know a guy?
The Doctor changes every season.
Yeah, it's incredible. We're not gonna argue about Doctor Who. This is not what this is
Jr.
about.
was a doctor.
Hey, you shut your mouth about the 10th Doctor. You shut your mouth. All right, we're really.
Who the 10th Doctor?
Just stop it. This is not what this episode is about.
I just said Barney.
This is a squad. All right. I get it. You hate life. You have no soul.
No, I don't understand Doctor Who. I don't get it.
That's fine. All right, that's enough rambling between us. This has been the Suicide Squad cast Flash edition. Make sure you check out our upcoming Arrow edition. And make sure that if you like this episode, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Join our Google Plus circle. Follow us on Tumblr. We're everywhere. It's in the description. All you gotta do is click on it and hit follow. We post all kinds of things. We post articles. We post pictures. We post everything you can imagine. This is not just a podcast. This is everything you could ever imagine. You are literally joining us into this trek into this fantasy world where we relive our childhood through men and women in spandex, and now thanks to the CW leather.
And Time Lords.
Why Alec sits over there and continues to be pissed over Doctor Who for some ungodly reason. We're going to end this show by saying right now we're doing Flash and Arrow, but we may be adding more to the list. We could be adding Daredevil second season when it comes out on Netflix. We could be adding Gotham.
And the world will look up and shout, "Review Gotham." And we'll whisper, "No."
I think that's I don't think they want to do Gotham. Oh well. So we might do Gotham. We might do Supergirl. I don't know. It's open. We're thinking about doing a couple new shows to add to this. But so you're gonna have to stay tuned if you're curious to know what's going on. But this has been the Suicide Squad cast. I'm Matt. That's Mitch. That's Alec. And we will see you guys right back here, same time, same exact place.
With all the Time Lords.